I want to welcome everybody to the first Sunday of the month, Kriya Yoga Teachings. It's June 1st, and I wanted to tell you that I had this quote sitting on my desk. It's been there for the past few weeks that I've been reflecting on. So the title of my talk is Tarka, the Spiritual Practice of Reflection. And this is the quote. It's from the Tao Te Ching. And it says, knowing others is cleverness. Knowing yourself is wisdom. Knowing others is cleverness. Knowing yourself is wisdom. So there's nothing wrong with knowing other people. As humans, we've collected an almost infinite amount of data about other people. Some of it's very helpful. But how much time do we spend watching others, both in either in real life or actually in fiction or on TV or on some other media that we're absorbing, and we're looking at other people, we're looking at other people, we're looking at other people. And how much time do we spend doing that compared to taking a look at our own selves? Knowing yourself is wisdom. So today I'm going to talk about swadhyaya. That's the yoga concept of self-study. And it's part of the yamas and niyamas. It's one of the niyamas. And we've been reviewing Patanjali's teachings over the last 6 months, just about. And so swadhyaya is drilling down into the niyamas a little bit. And it's about self-study. And we're going to talk about the yoga concept of that, and then the everyday life psychological concept of self-study. And also, I'm going to talk especially about Tarka, the spiritual practice of reflection. And it's a way of going deeper into your everyday life. And I'm going to share with you a technique that Kriyananda gave us to do that sort of Tarka, that sort of individual self-study. So when Kriyananda teaches any of the yamas and niyamas, he breaks it down into intellectual or mental, verbal, and physical actions, or mental, verbal, and physical ways of looking at these different yamas and niyamas. And in terms of self-study, he he talked about that the intellectual way of self-study, there's just so many different ways that you can do it. And you can do it like I did, like I have the little 3x5 card on my desk that says, knowing others is cleverness, knowing yourself is wisdom, because I was reading a new translation of the Tao Te Ching, and I saw that statement and I couldn't get past it. I had to reflect on it. It was just so, it seemed so present. So as you're reading scripture and or sacred texts or just any book that's really interesting, and you come across something that just really strikes you, that is a good thing to reflect on, to take some extra time. I know that I read a lot of sacred text in a class, and I just read them, read them, read them, read them, read them. And that's really not how you're supposed to approach a sacred text or any book of wisdom. It's more like you read a little of it, you spend some time thinking about it, you repeat it, you may make notes about it. So that's one way of using the mental aspect of self-study. And even though you're not self-studying, it doesn't say you necessarily, but what you're doing is you're looking at that text and you're thinking about not just what does it mean, but what does it mean for me or for you individually? And that's very important. So you take some time to look at them, to contemplate. You can do the same sort of contemplation, mental contemplation, with your chosen mantra, which might be a mantra that you were given by your guru. It could be one that you read in a book, but most likely it could be one that's related to your Ishta Devata, which is the way that you choose to see the divine. So there's just a lot of different ways to use your mind to do self-study and to do that sort of that reflection, just to take the time to read something, think about something, and take quiet time to do that. Then there's the verbal self-study, and verbal self-study is reading sacred text aloud, out loud, or chanting a mantra out loud, or praying aloud. And then we can go to the physical self-study, which has a lot of different aspects to it. It could relate to hatha yoga asanas, of as you're doing a posture or a pose, just to be more, have a heightened awareness of what you're doing and how that particular posture, that particular movement is affecting you on all the different levels of your being. Um, and just also to think about all the different things we do that we do in the physical realm that has an effect on our astral and causal bodies. So maybe something, as you're doing something physical, how does this relate to your health? How does this relate to your vibrancy and energy? That's a type of self-study as well. And we study the self with a capital S, the divine part of us, and that's a type of self-study too. It's a type of it. So the word that we use is Tarka. Tarka, it means that inward reflection. Kriyananda called Tarka the state of acute attention and introspection. So if you think about it, just about in every class Kriyananda taught, he said, your everyday life is your spiritual life. Your everyday life and your spiritual life are one and the same. He said that almost every time, because we have to really understand that our whole, not just our meditative life, but our whole everyday life, as we go through our day, all the different emotional ups and downs, all the things that the words we use when we talk to people, our attitudes, in the continual adjustments we make to life as we go through our day, all of these things um, can be a point of awareness. They can be a point of consciousness. They can be a point of using, using wisdom that we found to soften our karma. All these different things happen on a regular basis with repeating patterns in our everyday life. So the type of Tarka that I'm talking about is taking the time to think about and reflect on what's happening in our everyday life. And like I said, the most important thing, I think, is to figure out what are our repeating patterns. Who are the people, the difficult people? The good people are easy. We don't have to reflect too much on that, um, but you can reflect on what gives you joy, what gives you happiness, the repeated things that give you happiness, the difficult people in the confrontations in our life. Um, I think about a lot of times in my own cycles of procrastination and activation and how those occur. So even though it's a thinking process, when we do Tarka, when we take that quiet time to reflect, our mind begins to calm down. So it's really, really, really an important, I think, important process to be aware of and to use. So I want to start here by giving you a practice that Goswami Kriyananda gave to us. And He called it a pre-meditation. In other words, it's a practice that you do in the evening before your evening meditation, or to do before you go to sleep for the night. So we're gonna do this together. And so the first thing is just to when you're doing this um, on your own, just find a comfortable position. But I think it's helpful to sit upright. You can sit on the chair, on the floor, upright but relaxed. And now, with your eyes closed, remember back to the beginning of the day. So you imagine you're doing this in the evening. So because we're doing this in the morning for most of us, you can, if you haven't done that much today, if you want, you can use yesterday just for our example. Normally you'd be doing this at the end of the day and reviewing your day. So this is your day in review. But if you want to use yesterday, that could be helpful just because we're sort of just starting out. Hopefully, we haven't had too many ups and downs or conflicts, but you never know. Okay. So sit upright, relaxed, eyes closed, and just remember back to the beginning of the day or the beginning of yesterday. And just go through every step by step through your day. Visualize, if you can, your activities, the events, your encounters throughout the whole day, just step by step. I'll give you a moment to do that. Okay. And when you're on your own, you can definitely take more time. But the idea is that you think about all these different things that happen to you during the day. And then you can do this either mentally or on paper. If you're journaling this, you can mark down your emotional times and whether they were positive or negative. Mm. So think through your day and try to pick one, try to find a wonderful moment or a happy moment or a harmonious moment or a beautiful moment. See if you can pick that out of what you've done so far today or maybe something from yesterday. Now, still with your eyes closed, I want you to focus on that beautiful moment or that pleasant moment or that encounter with a lovely person. And I want you to send that feeling back out to that person or that situation. So it doesn't have to be a person. Maybe you saw somebody's beautiful garden with flowers just starting to bloom, or looked at a tree, but just sending out back out to the world. Or if it was a person, hold them in your mind and send that beauty or that loving feeling or that feeling of harmoniousness back out to them. And the next thing is to send that feeling of blessing and harmoniousness or love or beauty back to yourself. Blessing your own body and your own mind with that wonderful feeling. And the third part of this is take that wonderful feeling and send it out to the whole world. And part two, this is part two of this whole process. Now we're going to take our awareness and look at the things that we either mark down mentally or maybe on a piece of paper, and choose the most negative or aggravating or most emotional, negatively emotional moment of the day as you went throughout your day. And especially when you have more time than we do now, use this process of reflection to understand what happened. Try to see things from a different perspective. Use as much logical, rational thought as possible. And then, to the best of your ability, send loving thoughts, those harmonious thoughts, that good feeling, those blessings to that person or that situation. Sometimes people feel a little bit of internal rebellion or a resistance to the idea of sending something good to that negative situation. But just remind yourself that by doing this, you're clearing and balancing your own emotional patterns in order to be more peaceful and free from that person or event. So let's take just another quiet moment to send blessings to that situation. And then you can open your eyes and come back. But this is an important process. This Tarka, this reflection at the end of the day, it clears out it clears out all the things that may be disturbing you, especially the second part, and may disturb your sleep or might disturb your meditation. It helps you to feel like you've come to a conclusion at the end of the day. And so Kriyananda said that after any self-study, sort of to pull it back to this whole thing of self-study and Tarka, said if you learn something, see if you can put what you learned into a paragraph. Write a few sentences about it. So if you read a chapter in a sacred book, write a few sentences about it, and then see if you can bring that into one sentence. Break it down into one sentence, and then maybe into a short phrase. And if you can, bring it down into a single word, so that when you repeat that single word, it will unfold and it'll unfold so that the entire phrase, sentence, and paragraph, you'll realize that you remember the whole thing. So I think that maybe you could take just one more bit of quiet time and think about something that you learned today, just now in this talk. And again, sort of close your eyes, hold that phrase in your mind, see if you can find a key word, and I'll give you a quiet moment to think about that. come on back. And just a few last thoughts about Tarka. Make time in your life for quiet contemplation every day. It can, secondly, it can really help you to journal things from your day and things from your dreams so that you can watch for repetitive patterns. If you're going through this Tarka process and it's the same negative thing every day, then you realize just really simply that there's something that needs to be worked on. I mean, there's not too much doubt in your mind once you do it and you see these patterns. And of course, if you say the same thing for a nice, happy pattern too, that when you find something that gives you joy and is harmonious, then maybe you can add more of that into your life. That's a very positive thought. Mm. Remember that knowing others is cleverness, but knowing yourself is wisdom. So let's finish with Kriyananda's prayer that he gave us. May the infinite Lord of life, of love and laughter bless you at this moment. May each cell of your being and each petal of your mind be touched and be healed and be harmonized. May vim and vigor and vitality be yours. May love and laughter be yours. May you truly find that which you seek, and may you find that which you seek surely, swiftly, and most harmoniously. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Tat Sat Om.